I got into web management, I was a financial director for corporations. I did mergers and acquisitions. I've seen so many people getting let go because of redundancies. Even though companies were making billions, they wanted more and more and more. And it reached a stage where I was tired of that. I decided I wanted to make a change. So I went and I did the Canadian designations in taxation and got a job. Can you imagine? I was CFO before and now I got a job working at Liberty, making $11 an hour. In the financial industry, more than 35 years, and in personal finance, more than 15 years. It gives me that good feeling that nobody can bring. When you take somebody from there to here.
Yes.
When a person looked at you and said to me, Ian, how do you have so much money? And my response is that a problem? You want to make sure that you have a budget in place. And a budget has fixed expense and discretionary expense. One of the fixed expense must be savings. In other words, just like you pay your mortgage,
Non-negotiable.
saving should be a fixed expense. So think about it. A young person who just graduating, let's say 22 years old, if you take $5 per day and assume 30 days in the month, that's $150 a month, $18.25 a year. If that person were to invest that $5 that they're buying at Scarborough, by the time they are 47, they have $130,000, just like that. And if they did that, by the time they're 60, they have $600,000.
Wow.
Just like that.
Just like that.
And everything doesn't change. They're still living their life. Problem is behavior. Behavior. It's not so much income. Because I still have people who are earning six figures and live paycheck to paycheck.
Mercy.
30 days in a month. That's like $9.40. If you put away $9.40 every day, he'll be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire by the time he retires. So to put it this way, the market goes up and market goes down. But there's a 70% chance that it's always up. I'll take that. So the basic thing starts with having a will. And I know for most Caribbean people, if you're making a will, you're gonna die, right? But guess what? If you die without a will, it's worse. The government determines what happens. In estate planning, there are three C's. One is your children, one is your charity, and the third one is what?
Welcome to the Borough podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us, and because I don't want to make any mistakes, I don't want to go over and miss something, I'm going to read our guest's bio today. You're going to really want to hear this conversation, and here at the Borough podcast, we bring the best persons in their field of industry and occupation. Now, Brother Ian Romans is a graduate of the University of Manchester, England, and holds an MBA in Business and Finance. He is a chartered financial planner, a practicing trust and estate practitioner with the Society of Trust and Estate Practitioners. He is a chartered life underwriter and a registered retirement consultant with the Canadian Institute of Financial Planning, and a lifetime member with the Financial Advisors Association of Canada. Now, Ian Romans has over 30 years of experience in corporate and personal financial management and has a background in accounting, business management, tax planning, estate planning, finance, and human resources development. His business experience spans over several countries, including the Caribbean, USA, and Canada. He has held many senior management roles, including Chief Financial Officer, and currently serves as a senior consultant with IG Wealth Management for the past 15 years. Now, Ian draws on his business acumen to coach business owners, self-employed professionals, families, and young individuals who want to become financially independent. And that's why we are here. We want to delve a little deeper in this whole subject of financial independence. And Mr. Ian Romans is going to take us all through that. He also teaches on how to protect your income, to prepare for retirement, how to have guaranteed income in retirement, and how to manage debt in an effective manner. Reduce your taxes. That I want to underscore that, because he's an expert in reducing taxes, or showing you the ways in which you could reduce taxes legally. All right. No. So this is both inside individual and within corporations as well. He also deals in estate planning, wills and powers of attorney, and charity giving and philanthropy, and how you can leave a lasting legacy and reduce taxes on your estate. Now, on the personal side, he is married to Carol, a registered nurse, for 35 years with 4 adult children. And
One
he
grandson.
and one grandson. Yeah. Yes, a brand new minted grandson. And he's a member of the Kenilwood Church family. He enjoys gardening. Interesting.
Yeah.
Outdoor activities and spending quality time with his family. And this, my friends, this is a summary of the kind of guests we have before us today. Mr. Ian Romans, welcome to the Borough Podcast.
Pleasure to have you.
Pleasure indeed to have you. And just a fun fact. Now, we met Mr. Ian Romans last year when we had gone to his church, and after the service, it was a great service. We were down in the fellowship hall, and we were in line, my wife and I, in line for lunch. So we were, there, unbeknownst to us, his wife was also in the line, and
She was serving.
serving.
She was at the dessert line. She was serving.
She was probably serving, yes. So we were calling to our daughter, and she thought that we were referring to her daughter. And it was at that time we realized that our daughter and your daughter has the same name, right? And then she, very hospitable. She took us around, and we met your daughter, we met you, and months down the line, Brother Ian shows up at our church, and I'm looking at the face, and I know the face from somewhere. I can't pick it up. And it was after our meeting that my wife reminded me of our initial encounter early in the
You
year.
were being stared down that night. Please, that's why. I know these faces.
I think I'd gone past that. I was so captivated by your presentation. I forgot about that. I was just drawn in, and I said, no, we have to get Brother Ian to come back again, and we can dive a little deeper.
And broaden his audience.
And broaden the audience as well, because we were hoping to get a large representation of the church. We had just a fraction, and the word spread. And people were like, where can I get this this knowledge? Where can I hear what took place? As a matter of fact, I took a amateur video with my camera, and people have been hounding me to get that video of the presentation. So they'll get it, but they'll also get this, because we're going to be asking pointed questions and seeing how we can unpack things a little bit more.
Indeed.
Yes. So once again, welcome to our podcast. Now, just to set the context, we did have a previous episode on finance, and we spoke about finance in a broad way, how finance should be a subject, an important subject discussed in family. Because in that discussion, some facts came out, like the fact that many divorces today is not as a result of infidelity, it's actually due to finances. So finance is a make or break kind of subject or issue within families. We spoke about, on a basic level, how budgeting was important, how we can set up a budget, tithe, and how we can, divide our income to specific responsibilities on our bills and utilities and so on. And I think we got that. But there's also a whole other side to finance. It's a whole lot more than budgeting. Budgeting is a starting point and a great starting point. But we're going to dig a little deeper on the other side of finances. And I must put a disclaimer out there. This is a show that seeks to educate. However, we're not giving financial advice.
That's specifically geared to you.
Exactly. So if you hear something that triggers something in your mind and you think it may apply to your family, we do advise you to go to your specific financial advisor or seek out Brother Ian Romans himself, and he be able to look at your individual situation and take it from there. Now, we're talking just offline, Brother Ian, about your journey. But I think we want to put it on record. How did you get into wealth management? How did you get into your field of expertise here?
Well, before I got into wealth management, I was a financial director for corporations. I did mergers and acquisitions, did managing board meetings. I've seen so many people getting let go because of redundancies. Even though companies were making billions, they wanted more and more and more. And they don't really care about if they want to increase staff benefit or staff salary. And they reached a stage where I was tired of that. And I decided I wanted to make a change. So when I came to Canada and I was trying to look around, it was difficult to find anywhere. I mean, all the accounting firm I went to, they said to me, your experience is too much.
Oh,
We can't hire you. You would not survive here. You're too qualified. I'm like, okay. And I did that for a while and I got frustrated. I'm like, this is not working out. I was ready to go back. And my wife said, we're anywhere. Anyway, I went to the drugstore one particular day and I saw a lady I know from Jamaica. And she said to me, "Yeah, what are you doing?" I said, "Nothing. I'm just frustrated." He said to me, Have you considered Canadian taxation? And I said, "No, I never did." He said, "You should look into that. Because back home you're a financial guru." And I said, "Yeah, that's true." So I went and I did the Canadian designations in taxation, and got a job. Can you imagine? I was CFO before and now I got a job working at Liberty, making $11 an hour.
wow.
Think about it.
Look at that.
From 100 to 2,000 US dollars to $11 an hour.
Wow.
But it was preparing me for something greater
Yeah.
because all the skills that were coming together. And out of that, I ended up into wealth management because when I was doing taxes and I saw the amount of taxes people were paying, and I know that it could be different. And I started giving my card, and then people started coming to me, and then I started having seminars, and out of that, people tell people, or they have a tax problem, and I fix it for them, and they become a client. And I've been growing ever since.
Look at that.
Yeah,
It was a rough start. but-
rough start,
But
road.
was leading up to something.
Something greater. So all the skill set that I've had is coming to one.
Look at
Love
that.
it, love
Yeah.
it. So you kind of hit a bump in the road before God put you exactly.
Oh, it was really bumpy.
Mercy.
Okay, all right. And you've been in the field now for a number of,
Yes.
of decades.
Yes, for
Yeah.
the financial industry, more than 35 years,
Mhm.
and in personal finance, more than 15 years.
More than 15 years. So you're more than qualified to speak on this subject. Now, as a starting point, are there any tips? We're going to be dealing with persons who are just starting out. So young people, young families
Yes.
starting out. Are there any tips that you have been giving over the years and that you see very effective that young families, young people should follow? when
And let me bring
starting
it
out?
closer to home.
Yeah.
You have children.
Okay, so
What are the tips you have given or would give to your own children as young families starting out, trying to make sense of the finances in this generation and making it make some sense.
I'm going to give an example
All right.
of a real case study, which I started out. I had this young family. The man is a teacher. The wife is a teacher, but she works for herself. She was recommended to me by the person I did the taxes for, and she was the first person of non-color. She came to me, and they lived in a house that was broken down. The kitchen was falling apart. The washroom was non-existent. She wanted to have children. She has no money, and her credit card bills was growing. She had about 8 credit card bills. And she came to me. She was crying. And I looked at her and I said, you know what? Based on what you are doing, I can get you out of debt. I can get your bathroom done. I can get your kitchen done. I can save. I can plan for your children so they can go to school without paying anything for university. And I can save money for retirement. She looked at me and said, really? So when she gave me her numbers and I did a plan is important.
Yeah.
The plan, which include debt consolidation, getting rid of our credit card bill, tax planning, saving and investing. Today, she not only was she take off time from work, self-employed, our children now are fully the cost for university is fully covered.
Fully covered. Wow.
They have over $150,000 investment. They have pension in their name. The government now is funding their children education through tax planning. So that's an example of and I look back at these people, and where they are now, it gives me that good feeling that nobody can bring.
Wow.
When you take somebody from there to here.
Yes.
When a person looked at you and said to me, Ian, how do I have so much money? And my response is that a problem? It's a good problem to have.
That's a good problem to have.
So, but when a young family, you have to play defensive and as offensive. Defensive, I mean, first of all, in a family, I'm hoping that one parent is stronger financially than another. It doesn't have to be the man or the woman, whoever is more strong is stronger. And you want to make sure that you have a budget in place, right?
Yes.
Budget is important. And a budget has fixed expense and discretionary expense. One of the fixed expense must be savings. In other words, just like you pay your mortgage,
Non-negotiable.
saving should be a fixed expense. It doesn't matter how much you're making and how much you're saving. And it should be a percentage of your income, right? The younger you start, the better, right? For example, people go and buy coffee every day. One of those coffee company. How much you pay for double at
Guessing it's about $3.
depends
Yeah,
on
or probably more.
$5
Yeah,
if you go to Starbucks.
$6.
$5.
Yeah.
So think about it. A young person who just graduating, 22 years old, if you take $5 per day and assume 30 days in the month, that's $150 a month, $18.25 a year. If that person were to invest that $5 that they're buying at Starbucks, by the time they are 47, they have $130,000, just like that. And if they did that, by the time they're 60, they have $600,000.
Wow.
Just like that.
Just like that.
And everything doesn't change. You're still living your life, right? So it's really about saving, investing, building that emergency fund.
Yes.
So the defensive partner. So you want to make sure you have the budget in place and the saving in place, but you also want to place defense by having an emergency fund, right?
Yes.
You have an emergency fund,
Yeah.
which is pretty much 3 to 6 months of your expenses
Okay.
as a budget. But also on the defense side now, where you need to make sure that, so if you lose your job, you have something to fall back on. If you have an illness, you need to have something in place to ensure that income. So for example, if you're under 25, 1 in 4 person will have a disability. Sometimes not only physical, sometimes not emotional disability. You need to have something in place that will give you an income if you cannot work.
Makes
And of course, you need to have life insurance in place. I came across an example just last year. Lady stayed home, 3 kids, husband works. He went and did an operation, came home and died. He apparently shouldn't have been discharged, but he bled out and died. Now she lost her home. The children have now lost the school that they're going to, just because there's no planning done.
Mhm.
And now she's in a shelter. And I looked at that, and the person came to me and asked me, "How can I help them?" And I said, "That's not the type of person I try to help. It is too late. I mean, something should have been done before.
Yeah.
And so, for a young family, if you have children also, in Canada, and I speak specifically to Canada, we have all kinds of government benefits. For example, the government gives you money to a child from 0 to the age of 17 years old. That money can be used to protect your income and also send a child to school, because there is what's called the Registered Education Savings Plan,
Right.
where the government matches every dollar put in up to a certain limit,
Yes.
right? And you should be taking advantage of all these different things, using the money from the government to fund the education, so the child never have to go to school in debt.
Right.
So these are some of the examples I used: saving, investing, starting early, and having that defense mechanism in place for it ending happen, which is a disability or even death,
Mhm.
to take care of that.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, so very important. So the budget, very important. We're talking about having an emergency fund, and I keep, we're living in an age right now, Mr. Ian, where you go online and everybody knows the financial guru. There is a flood of information, but we kind of hear a consistent theme: budget, emergency fund, and investing was a big thing. 10, 15 years ago, investing, there was seemingly a high barrier to entry,
Yeah.
and it would be only certain types of people talking about that. Now everybody's talking about investing, even if they're not involved, they're talking about it. It's now an in thing. And we started investing a few years ago, and every year we're trying to look to beef up how much money we put into investing. It's very powerful. And as you mentioned, time horizon.
Time.
The earlier you start, the more that money can compound over time. So excellent advice there in terms of how young people, young families can get started.
And then the advice the tips have been shared, but if you could share, if you have any examples, or what do you think are some of the barriers that separate those who succeed financially versus those who just continue to struggle?
The biggest problem is behavior.
Oh.
Behavior. It's not so much income, because I still have people who are earning 6 figures and live paycheck to paycheck.
Mercy.
I mean, I met this guy recently. He's making $300,000 a year. His tax bill is about $94,000, and he was saving $600 a year. And then you have a person who's making $50,000 a year. He's saving $15,000 a year. So it's not just
A discipline.
it's a discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the difference between the person who succeed and those who not, if you don't plan to fail. Yeah, it's like a roadmap. I mean, you see, people who succeed, they have. If you have a tooth problem, you go to the doctor, or your dentist, or you go to professional.
Yes.
You seek professional help early. People tend to postpone doing financial planning until there's a problem.
Wow.
I mean, or they see all this mad thing as just a number, but actually, as I said before, money causes a lot of stress in families. I mean, because if you have a budget and you have a certain thing set aside for certain expenses, and your spouse is using it, then it causes divorce.
Yes.
It causes all kinds of problems.
Mm-hmm.
So when they seek help early,
Yeah.
they have a plan.
Wow.
They have set goals. Now, goals has 3 different parts to it. A goal is always have a time limit,
Mm.
Yeah.
right? If you have a goal, you also have to put resource to that goal. What are you putting? And is that money working for you?
Yes.
So, for example, if you think of a triangle, where one side is the money working for you? 2, how much I put in away? And 3, what time factor I have?
Okay.
So if you start late, right? That means you have to save more or take on more risk.
Yes.
If you start earlier, you don't have to take on too much risk, but I could have a shorter time. So they're all interwoven.
Yes.
Because so when you start early, so for example, a young person who just finished, the first thing they want is a car.
True.
Yeah. First thing, you want a car. Any idea what a car payment is like per month?
They
Yeah.
350?
Calling 350 to 500.
350.
Yeah.
Depending on what they're going for.
Right. So I'll do a car. I mean, I'm saying to a person like that, okay, how about using the same concept to become a millionaire by the time you're about 60? A millionaire without doing anything else. So, for example, I'll give you an example. So if someone is say, you know what, came to me and I took them on and said, okay, here's what we'll do. You want to be a millionaire by this time? Can you come up with 320 per month? Yeah. So, for example, and this is not for everyone. So, how it works is you go to the bank, or your line of credit, you borrow $20,000. And $20,000 for 6-7 years, the payment is going to be $350. You with me? In 8 years, that $20,000 double to 40. You finish paying up that loan, you do it again.
Yes.
So now you have 40 plus 20, 60. Same idea.
Yeah.
The same 350. That 160, that 180 become 160.
Yep.
Then become 600, $1.2 million over. And you're just using that. You're still living your life. You're still going on vacation. You're still doing everything else.
But your car payment.
Your car payment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Becoming a millionaire. Just like that.
Man, I love that.
It's very doable. It's having that discipline, having the person to coach you. Because one of the things I learned, my son tell you that he left my home at 31, got married, bought his own home, which today's world almost impossible. But I taught them finance from early.
Yes.
I mean, I remember when they were going to Mona Prep in Jamaica.
Jamaica, yeah.
You went there.
Oh, really?
What was it Mona primary? Yeah, when Mona Prep is the preparatory school.
Yes. Every day they come to me for lunch money, and I'm like, I have 4 there, So it got stressful, right? And I sat down for a while, and I say, okay, you're going to high school now. They went to Camden College, and I said, okay, here's what I do. I would give him a lump sum money for the entire month. So I'll count out and say, this is yours, this is yours.
Wait, what ages are we talking about?
We start with 11.
Ooh.
I said, you manage that.
Okay.
You manage that. And you believe me, when we came to Canada, they had money in their bank account. They budgeted, they said, so because they got a lump sum, they were able to save. So instead of buying everything else, they buy a patty or something and save the rest, and they were banking the rest. So when I could not believe it. When we decided to come to Canada, the money they had. So I actually really ingrained it from very young.
I love that.
Yeah.
So we can tag that onto the first question about what young families can do.
Yeah.
And it's ingraining proper financial habits and practices, teaching your children from early.
That's breaking the mold, Dr.
You're
Mr. Roman,
already
because
breaking.
most Caribbean families, you start talking money and the children come go sit down.
No.
It's enough for you.
No, you have to involve them. I mean, my children are very, very versed. I mean, because they go to all these conferences at church and wherever they come and they're like, oh my God, there's so much misunderstanding out there. There's so much nonsense. But because I'm not the planner, I don't have the authority to speak. I just listen. And I'm like, yeah. That is so. There's so much noise out there that need to be corrected.
Yes.
Yeah.
So very, very interesting. So you're saying,
Step one.
yeah,
Start-
behavior.
Behavior. Start early.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can you imagine a car payment can make you a millionaire? And you still have your life. You still can go on vacation. You see, the thing is they have different buckets. So when I meet the client and I ask them, first thing, what their goals are. We do a plan, right? And very often people want to travel. And it's not all about saving today and no fun. So we have different buckets. One bucket for travel, one bucket for emergency saving, one bucket for retirement saving, one bucket for something for children education. So each bucket is funded with different. So when we do the budget, we are looking at how do we fund it.
Right.
And a lot of times, depending on your position, that funding can also come from the tax deduction.
All right.
Yes.
Wow.
Stay tuned because we're going to dive a little bit
Or
deeper into the numbers.
before, so they can reach it before.
Yes. So what you're saying, Brother Ian, is that living a financially disciplined life doesn't have to be a life full of restrictions.
No.
It's just planning.
Planning.
Discipline and planning.
And we oftentimes plan to fail because we don't have a plan.
You're right. Exactly.
You know? Okay. So that's an excellent.
So that leads us to, I know the questions are kind of bobbing and weaving into each other because we know there's a varying demographic that may listen. And for those who have some money, we're coming down your lane, but right now we're trying to look at those who don't have no money. We're talking about the young families or the single families who it's paycheck to paycheck. So it's kind of going around the same loop, but trying to reach somebody on their street. What can ordinary families do to build wealth with just minimum wage? We have the first question, we have the first analogy of using the car payment, but thinking about minimum wage in Canada right now, what can we pose to them as a good proposition to get themselves into work?
Well, let's just start it back a little. If you have children living at home and they're working, they should be paying rent to themselves.
Okay.
By that I mean, I said to my daughter right now, who's at home, if you had to rent somewhere out in Durham, what would it cost? Say about $1,250 a month. Well, $2,000 a month, $2,500.
Yeah.
I said to her, okay, here's what you're gonna do. I want you to start investing $2,500 a month. That's it. There's no discussion. The amount of money that she has at her age, I never had 1/10 of that. That was it. Nothing 1/10. Not even 1/10. Right? With the minimum wage, it's become challenging. It really pretty much challenging. But there are things you can do.
I'm happy to hear you say that.
That things you can do.
So it is possible.
There are things you can do.
Yeah.
You have to lift yourself out of that situation. So, for example, let's say you work as a security guard, right? You're making, I don't know, $18 an hour. While you're doing the security guard, you can invest in yourself. Whether it's online schooling or what have you, trades program. And you find yourself moving from making that minimum wage to whatever trade you're going to, making $50, $6 an hour over time. You can do that. I'm giving a personal example. When I got married, way back,
35 years ago.
yes. I was ashamed to tell my wife that she made 4 times my income.
Mercy.
Her income was 4 times my income, and it was really, really hard to deal with. Right? She didn't know, but because I invested in myself while working, I invested in myself. In 10 years, my income was 10 times our income. So it is trajectory what like that. So you have to invest in yourself, focus on building in skill. Looking at your eating out habits, right? Because I just mentioned spending $5 a day could make you a $600,000 down the road.
That's the problem.
And looking at those things and to see if you are renting somewhere, if you are shared accommodation, what you have otherwise paid for rent, you should save in it. It's not about if you can manage $100. When your income is $4,000, you will even do it. But if you don't, the same thing happens. I have seen persons. Let me tell you something. One of the things I always have to do is when I talk to a client is that every time I get a pay increase, I run them down. Because the idea is that the lifestyle changes and nothing happens.
Yeah.
Nothing happens. This expense just change to match the lifestyle.
Yeah. Lifestyle creep, eh?
Lifestyle creep.
Yeah.
So the idea is to have that disciplined approach. Have a plan. Have a plan. I sit down with the client and do a plan with them. I say, okay, this is your goal. This is what my value proposition is, and this is what we get to get there. Now, if something happens where life happens,
Yeah.
and you come off the rail, I try to get you back onto the rail, right? But consistently, if you're not following, I say, you know what? Time to go.
I love how it seems realistic.
Time to go.
Like there's not, you're not just rigid all the time. It's life happens,
That happens,
but we have to get you back on track.
right? Like a
Love
GPS.
that.
I'm like the GPS.
Yes.
Because when someone comes to my office, I'm the painter. Tell me what you want in life. And I'm painting that picture. Tell me what it is. And then we come up with a plan. So this is what we're going to do. And I expect you to follow.
Yes.
There was an example where, tell me nameless, a pastor and his wife, they were thinking of having a reverse mortgage. Worst thing ever. And for those persons who don't understand what it is, reverse mortgage is when you have paid off your home and you're broke. You have paid off your home and have no money to live on. So if the roof goes bad, you can't fix it, or the furnace break down, or if an emergency happen, you know have a house but no money. So reverse mortgage is when a person goes to an institution and pretty much making the creditor your beneficiary. They lend you money and you don't pay anything back. Right? And at the background, that money is growing in debt higher and higher and higher. They were thinking of reverse mortgage. And when I look at their situation, I said, you know what? You, sir, for the next 5 years, I make you pay zero tax. I'm going to make government fund your tax-free saving account. We did a plan, and they understood. They were so happy. They called me again. Are you sure? I say, oh, I explain again. They came back and I said, you know what? This is not for you. The pastor looked at me and says, Brother Romans, be not be weary in good doings. And today, so after the planning for them, the first year they got back, I don't know, it was like $25,000 in tax refund. And I didn't see them. So I said, wait a minute. We have a plan here. Oh, I need to do my driveway and I need to do this, I need to do that, I need that. I said, okay. I let it slide. The following year, I said, if that happened again, I would cut them loose. But it's lucky for them, they shape up. So it's not that I just cut it off right away. I give an opportunity. And today, they have money set aside to travel. They went to Europe recently.
Yes.
And that doesn't affect the other bucket.
Very so.
So it is very possible.
This is what we're talking about.
I'm just looking at the recurring, the discipline, the planning. I love it.
Exactly. So, I'm seeing a consistent theme here, Brother Ians, and it's discipline.
Yes.
It's all good to have the budget and have the plan.
Yeah.
If you're not sticking to the plan, you're not going to see the desired outcome.
You won't.
Right?
Put the work in.
Yeah.
And it must be difficult when you're trying to do the best for clients and clients aren't seeing
Right.
how their behavior is contributing. But I think that should be the lesson, overarching lesson of this episode. We got to be disciplined.
Right. The behavior.
Discipline.
I mean, you have some persons who try to do their own thing, which is dangerous, because they say invested and the market goes down.
Yeah.
What they do?
So
They sell. Because I'm going to lose my money, right? The other person who says, they sit down and say, okay,
Buy more.
this is time to do it. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good when your $100,000 now is 70. It doesn't feel good. But my thing to this person is, okay, how did you get here this morning? Did you walk or did you drive? Well, guess what? The company that make that car is still making cars. The gas that you put in that vehicle, you're still buying gas. So because the share price went down today, it doesn't mean anything. And now it's the time to buy.
Yes. So it's just, and it's the knowledge too, because I can remember when we had a little investment and things are going well in COVID, and then it started going not so well, and I panicked. But he was already doing some financial research, and he's like, "No, this is a time where you put more in."
Yes,
So
yes.
it was a learning experience. If you don't know, this is what you do. When it goes down, you get more. So that when it goes up, the more you have swells bigger.
And I'm sure you're gonna go into it when we get to the more illustrative
Yeah.
part of the episode.
Yes.
But we have to understand that there are peaks and valleys when it comes to investing,
Right.
right? But overall, the trajectory is
Yeah.
to the top
Yes.
right.
So put it this way, the market goes up and market goes down.
Yep.
But there's a 70% chance that it's always up. I'll take that.
Yep.
I mean, people come and tell me about guarantee. I say, if you know that there's a 70% chance that it will always go up, why would you take it?
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, for those persons we get into retirement period. There's a big strategy for persons who are retired.
Yeah.
Well, let's go right into it.
Because that was
Yeah, I think we can. So we have dealt with the young families. We've dealt with more the middle, middle income, in terms of age and so on. But what about those who are 10, 5, maybe 15 years away from
Yep.
retirement? Is there anything that they should be
Oh,
doing?
geez, they should be doing other things. One of the biggest costs of retirement is taxes.
Yes.
One of
If
the
you don't do
biggest-
it right, eh?
I know one of the biggest costs is taxes, and if you're not doing it right, you're gonna have. So, for a person who are planning to retire, some people say, okay, in Canada we have what is called the Canada Pension Plan, which is the amount that you put in, grow, and we work for employer.
Yes.
Employer contribute, you contribute, and when you retire, you get that. But there's also the old age security pension, which is Canada's a great country, and I speak to you about Canada. You only have to live here to get that pension.
Mhm.
Think about it. You didn't put anything into it, but you just work, you just live here. But there are a lot of rules that involve.
Yeah.
So, for example, persons who are working, so at age 60, you can take your Canada pension plan. But the optimal age is 65.
Yes.
So by taking it early, you lose 36% of it. And I find people ill-advised working and go and get their CP Canada pension plan. They should not do that because they lose 36% of it. And in Canada, we have what's called a progressive tax system.
Right.
The more money you make, the more tax you pay, and the higher the rate is. So I see persons taking their Canada pension early while working, and they end up losing their old age security pension because it's clawback because the government said you have too much money. So understanding where's the source of income coming from.
Yes.
Now, if you have not been saving while are you leading up to retirement, you're in trouble.
Yep.
Actually, 60% of persons feel they can't retire because they have not put away anything.
Yes.
But there's still way you can do. There's still planning that you can do. I mean, I have a situation where a very good idea. 50-year-old client, no more saving, and when I did a plan for them, I show her that by the time she reached retirement age, she would have $500,000 saved, and most of it was coming from taxes. Most of it. So there's a lot you can do. When you retire, you also want to have some certainty. Most companies are moving away from pension,
Okay.
right? And when you can also look up what's called an annuity that gives you. So when you retire, you do have fixed expenses, and you should always have an income to cover the fixed expenses.
Yes.
Right? And that could be the old age security pension, the CPP, or an annuity that covers those fixed expenses.
Yes.
You still have life to live. You want to go and travel, those are discretionary.
Yes.
So if you're looking to retire in a few years, you're looking at income guarantees, you're looking at tax planning, you're looking at so what am I going to do when I retire? Because if you retire, if you are moving at 100 miles an hour and stop, you're going to break down. All kinds of things going to happen to you. There has to be a structure in your life that you're going to do something. There must be something that wakes up in the morning,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned something a while ago that is leading to this probably our final question. But this whole matter of estate planning. What is that, first of all? And is it important?
I'm glad you asked that.
Okay.
But before we go there, I just wanted to hover over this because it's not lost on me. That last example, at 50,
Yes.
and able to retire with $500,000.
Yes. Yeah.
A lot of people say you got to start young to have something for retirement, but you at 50 were able to assist her to.
Yeah.
This is big.
So it's not too late.
So
Not too late.
Something.
this is the part of the program where you pause, you share it with somebody, or you run and call some other people to finish watching the rest of this episode, because this is big. A lot of persons now are struggling to find ideas, struggling to find a plan of action when it comes on to retirement, and it is heartbreaking. So many older persons have to retire and then go back to work. So tell a friend to tell a friend. This is worth sharing. Carry on.
Estate planning. As an estate practitioner, I am big on estate planning. Estate planning is really arrange your fears in the most tax efficient way, so that when you're gone, your next of kin get it the most tax efficient way you desire. Now, people. So the basic thing starts with having a will, and I know for most Caribbean people, making a will, you're gonna die, right? But guess what? If you die without a will, it's worse.
Yes.
The government determine what happens, and it takes forever to go through. Having the power of attorney. So, for example, if you have asset and is not jointly held, and something happened to you, and you're alive, nobody can get it because there's no power of attorney in place. The will. That starts there. But estate planning is really looking at. I will give you examples. That's how. I'll give you some examples. I have a client whose wife passed away from cancer. Cancer is taking out so many. Yeah. They had done well. They had 2 daughters, and he had insurance in place. Lucky for him, had insurance in place. The insurance company paid him money, and he's a banker. He's a senior banker at one of the big banks in Canada, and he says, I'm going to pay off my mortgage. I said, what? He got the insurance company paying money from the death of his wife.
Okay.
And his first response is, he's going to pay off his mortgage. I said, what? Why are you not?
The man's going to be debt free.
But that can be good.
All right. Good.
You can create wealth by having debt.
Okay.
Actually, the richest person have the biggest debt. Okay.
Yeah.
We're ready for this trip.
So I said, what are you doing? I took him out and I showed him. I said, look, you're working at the bank. You're making over $100,000 a year. You're paying your tax rate is 40-something%. How much is the mortgage? Oh, 3-4%. So I'm saying you're giving up 40% to save 3%. Why are you doing that? So I said, no, you're not doing this. So we invested the money instead. He called me out there like, oh my God, I have so much money. I said, so here is what is happening. People have an asset with their home.
Yes.
And so, for example, let me give an example for all person listening. If you have a home that is, say, $1 million.
You can't answer that.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, right. Say you have a home is $1 million, and you have a mortgage of $500,000. And in this case, the guy got the $500,000. If he took that $500,000 pay off the mortgage, you have no mortgage, right? But his $1 million is still growing. The house, that's it.
Yes.
But if he kept that $500,000 outside mortgage, he has both the house going in value and the money going in value.
Right.
2 horses at the same thing. 2 horses growing at the same time.
Yeah.
So instead of having $1 million growing, he has $1.5 million growing. Right?
I see where you're going.
And he was like, yeah, you're going to kill me. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's a very good example of, what's the question again?
Estate planning.
Estate planning. So now,
he ends up leaving more for his family.
so now the wife passed away, and now it's children, and he's planning on getting married 3 years later. And he said to me, I found a new lady and I want to get married, and I want to do some estate planning. So he said, my daughter loved my new fiance, and they wish me all well. And I said, okay, stop right there. What is the plan? He said, well, she's going to live with me. The house is going to be hers. And I'm like, okay. So I said, listen, how do you protect your wife, your new wife, And how do you protect your children?
Mhm.
Because I said, okay, if you have everything in your will to her and you pass away and it goes to her, she gets remarried, what happened to your children?
Mm.
No. There has to be a plan to protect her and protect them. So I said, here's what we could do. We could do a testamentary trust
Mhm.
where the property goes into a testamentary trust and a spousal trust in her name.
Mhm.
When she passes away, it goes back to your children. He was like, oh my goodness. And he's asking about more questions about how the trust works. I said, go read upon it. And when you have all the questions, come back to me. Here's another example. The husband and wife, the husband in a business that is very risk averse in terms of lawsuit.
Mhm.
So he doesn't want an asset in his name.
Mhm.
All asset in his wife's name. He has several rental properties. And rental properties are good. But there's also problem with rental properties. He had a number of rental properties, all in his wife's name, in which his brothers are working with him.
Mhm.
So I said to him, if you drop dead tomorrow, what happened to your properties? What happened if your wife decide not to do anything? You know, the properties get nothing. He has a daughter that was before her. What happened to her? So how do you protect your wife? How do you ensure that they are protected? So estate planning is very, very detailed. It's not just, and if in Canada, divorce rate is very high.
Yep.
And if you are a blended family, meaning that you have children from previous marriages,
Yes.
you need to protect both the current spouse and the children from the previous marriage.
Yep.
It's also about saving on costs, because in Canada, we have what's called double taxation,
Yes.
where you pay tax twice on the same item. So give me an example. You have saved all your life and you have now registered money of $1 million. So, here's a good example. You have 2 children
Yes.
and you make willing that I'll give my investment to my son, I'll give my home to my daughter.
Mhm.
So you have a $1 million investment and you have $1 million at home. As far as you're concerned, you have done a well job, but you haven't. Because the son who gets $1 million in registered money, $553,000 go into CRA.
Look at them.
While the daughter get $1 million. So you're creating disharmony in the estate.
Yes.
Disharmony in the estate. Just today, I had a meeting with a very big client. He's want to gift his son, buy his son a home, and his daughter's in Australia. And I said, okay, he's good and well to do that. But when you're gone, what's going to happen to those people? So I said, no, if you're going to do this, we have to change your will
Yes.
to take in consideration that any gift that was given outside of the will now needs to be accounted for at the final end by what's called a Hatchworth clause. So that was today. So estate planning is a big thing.
It's a big thing, yeah.
About tax planning, about if you have a charity request. I've had on a seminar how can I give to charity and save on tax?
Oh.
In estate planning, there are 3 C's. 3 C's. One is your children. One is your charity.
Yes.
And the third one is what? CRA.
CRA.
Oh God.
CRA.
Or your local tax authority, yeah?
CRA.
Yeah.
They're in the seas.
And if you remember, depending on the asset, you can lose 60%
That's
in
hard.
taxes.
That is hard.
60% because there's double taxation. So here in Canada, there are so many examples of double taxation. For example, you have a company that makes money. The company pays the bill and makes profit. The company pays tax to the government.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are a big company, it could be as high as 26%. Right? After the company pays the tax and pays you a dividend, guess what? When you get a dividend, you get tax. You get tax on dividend again.
I did, yeah.
And there are many examples. Another example, you have a cottage, right? Or even rested investment, and it passes away. So if you had the example I gave my seminar, where the persons had a cottage and they had RSP, the CRA ended up taking over $700,000.
Yes.
$700,000. So whatever is less, depending on how it's structured again, when those children are taken it again, they get taxed again. So we have a lot of double taxation in Canada. And there are things you can do legally
To protect
to
yourself.
reduce the amount of taxes you pay,
Yeah.
but it's knowing how to do it.
Yes.
Knowing how to do it.
And that's where we find the professionals.
Yes.
Like I keep wanting to say Dr. Roman. Yes.
He speaks with such authority and knowledge on this subject. So
Once you're in our chair, you're Dr. Roman.
so it's not just writing a will.
No, it's not. It's not.
More than that.
More than that.
That's enlightening.
Yeah.
To be
Way more than that.
And you have this thing where you say you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
You know, so there's so much that goes into this.
Here's another example. You know that, we don't have estate tax in Canada, but you have probate.
Yes.
So you pay 1.5% of the value of an asset in the probate administration. So some people want to bypass the probate, which can be good and cannot, depending on the situation. Because if everything goes in your estate, it's all tax again.
Yes.
Okay.
Some things can be outside the estate. So you can have joint ownership. You can have named beneficiaries. Now, again, I'm going to warn people, do not put your children as joint ownership of your property to avoid probate. Worst thing ever. You lose control. You can't do anything without them. If they are sued, it's up for grab. If they get them married and divorced, it's up for grab. Never do that.
Wow.
It is better for it to go to the trust. So there are different type of vehicles that you can have. And if you are going on a second marriage, making sure that you protect your children. I have seen where wealthy families never did it properly, where man passes away, got married to the lady, and his children got nothing. Everything went to the next generation. So,
look at that.
Estate planners. Here's an example I see recently, where a second marriage, the gentleman named his adult children beneficiary on his registered investment. Now, that might look okay because his wife has the house and everything. She's fine. Except that if he passes away, the children get that money tax-free and the tax bill falls to the spouse. So that kind of thing.
Yeah, so we're seeing there's a lot to really think about.
So many things.
So many things.
Yeah.
And this is where professional advice comes in.
Yes.
Because the average person doesn't really know all the options of it.
And not only that, I can see where the average person would think, I'm being fair. I'm satisfying your need and your
No,
need.
not.
But
we
that you don't know, you don't know.
We're not consider the other C.
You don't right. That's see.
The other C.
Oh my goodness.
I know a lot has been said here, and this is going to be seen by many different persons in different jurisdictions. And we have said a lot that pertains to Canada, Canadian terms, Canadian tax authority. But really, the principles are applicable anywhere.
Yeah.
Because estate planning not just applies to Canadians.
No,
it applies to people in the Caribbean. It applies to any persons in Europe. It's something we all have to consider. Just like our will is universal, budgeting is universal.
Yes.
Proper financial disciplines, universal. Estate planning is universal.
Yes.
And this is why we say you have to consult your own financial advisor within your jurisdiction who can guide you. So write down all of these terms. Go to your local representative or financial advisor and ask about estate planning. Ask about how can I protect my family in the case of death. It's not just about will. You have to deal with tax and some unintended impacts. Unexpected impacts to various members of your family. Were there any other questions that you had?
I'm excited. I hear hope in the conversation because where it seems like, it's a dead end, you're providing hope. Where it seems like things were not thought through, you're providing hope. So I'm just excited for what is to come.
And the next time you see Brother Ian's, he's going to be actually taking us through the numbers, dealing with different scenarios.
Lecture style. We're getting
lecture
the whiteboard
style.
out.
We're in the whiteboard out.
Trevor.
And he's going to be guiding us through different scenarios. And you can now see the numbers at play. I think you're really going to be impressed. When you see the numbers, you're going to see all of what we have discussed here come to life.
As I said before, the tools I'm going to show is not about tax evasion. It's about how to save on tax. Because Canada has a very aggressive tax system. So, for example, if you make $60,000 as an individual in Canada, you're going to pay $9,000 in tax, income tax. Now, if you get a raise and let's say you change your job and your income goes to 120, you double your income, $120,000, your tax should double too, right?
Right.
However, if you make $120,000, your tax is now $28,500. So think about it. You double your income, the tax move from 9 to 28. Now it gets worse. If you are an executive, and you make say $500,000 in income, your tax bill is $223,000. Now, this might be looking at a big number, but income can be not only earned income. It could be somebody who has saved all their life in a registered savings plan like RRSP and dies.
Right.
This becomes income in that year. So the tax bracket in Canada, depends on the province you're in, goes as high as 53.53%. And there are many cases of double taxation. Good. There are many cases of double taxation. So the question is, if I'm successful, how am I going to deal with it? Because think about it. You go to work every day for 3.5 months just to pay the tax. And the question is, what can be done about it? I'm glad you asked. Because there are a lot you can do about it. Now, in tax planning, there are 3 Ds.
Okay.
There are 3 Ds to talk about. And when we did our last planning, we talked about the 3-season estate planning.
Right.
But now, I want to talk about the 3 Ds in tax planning. The first one is called deduct. The second one is called divide. And the third is defer. I'm going to use examples during this presentation about these different strategies. Now, a deduction. A deduction is what you claim on your income tax. And I'll give you some examples. When you make a contribution to RSP, you have a deduction. If you have charity contribution, you have a deduction. If your children go to university and they get this slip from the school, you can claim a deduction. If you have medical expenses that you spend above 3% of your income, you can claim it as a credit. So deduction and credit goes hand in hand. So those are some of the examples. If you borrow money to invest and the investor they charge you money, you can deduct the costs from the taxes, the deduction. Both the fee that the investor charges as well as the lender, you're able to deduct it from your income tax. So for persons like these, they have to employ these strategies. Okay, divide. Divide is really split up your income so that you pay less tax. Because you notice here, as your income increase, this tax tripled. So if you can find a way to bring down your income and split among family members, this is what this is about.
The divide part.
Divide. Okay. And there are many, I could get very complicated going to trust and all those things, but not tonight. And of course, defer. And defer is putting off the tax bill as long as possible. Here are a couple examples. So you work in 2025, from January to November. The company is about to let you go and they give you a severance pay. And they give you an option of, do I pay you in December or do I pay you in January? The answer would be pay you in January, because if you got paid in December, all your pay you made for the year is, and then the severance pay adds on that.
Right.
It puts you in a higher tax bracket. It could be as high as 53%. Think about it. At 53%, it means that the government gets more money than you make. Every dollar above a certain limit, you make 40 plus cent, and they make 53 of your money. So sometimes it makes sense that if you are in a high income employment, it is better to request time for your time worked, because after a certain time, at a certain level of income, it doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense. All right. So by delaying the severance pay to January, you have 13 months in which to deal with taxes. Plus, your income is lower because you're not working anymore. So that's an example of defer.
Okay.
All right. All right. So now that we have talked about the three D's, let's go in some examples. So I went to see this family, and the gentleman, he made $120,000 a year. And from what we recall, we said if you make $120,000, how much you pay in tax?
28. Yeah.
28. Do 28.5? $28,000.
Yeah.
So I said to him, now this guy is married, right? And I said to him, if we are able to divide, which is one of the D, split your income, how much tax we could save you? So we have the guy and we have the wife who is a stay-home mom. He's making all the money and losing $28,000 in tax. So I said to him, I could save you $10,000 in tax every year. How? So remember the 3 Ds? By splitting the income. So if he reports $60,000 in his taxes and she reports $60,000 in taxes, now we're not doing tax evasion. The family income is still $120,000.
Yes.
But the tax on $60,000 is $9,000 and $9,000. So between them both, they're paying $18,000 in tax, as opposed to $28,000.
Because you've now brought them to a lower tax bracket.
So instead of paying $28,000, they pay $18,000. So this is a very good example of income splitting. Now, how do we split income? I'm glad you asked. There are many ways to do that. So if you're self-employed, you can employ your relative, your children. It has to be reasonable. You can if you're in an employment, you can do spousal RSP contributions. On your income tax, if you're retired, you can split your pension income. So in my practice, when I get a pensioner and one is high earn, I split the income so that I bring down the husband, bring up the wife, so that the same effect happens here. So there are a number of instances where you can split the income.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's the first example of one of the real case.
Okay.
Now, you can ask me the question because I'm sure a person might be interested to know.
Right.
Now, this is a very good example of what one of the consultants at my workplace left, and I inherited a file. The guy was an accountant, and he managed properties for his boss. So he's a big time accountant, and he was making $240,000 per year. The wife was pretty much a stay-home mom. She did a local bakery, and on $240,000, guess what is the income tax? The income tax is $84,000. So on $240,000, he's paying $84,000 in tax. So when I saw his file, I looked at it and I went to see him.
Mm-hmm.
When I went there, I saw a very nice F-150 park in the driveway.
Yes.
Nice one F-150. And if you know F-150, those are those big time vehicles that carry. They're very expensive.
Yes.
They're like $80,000 a year, right? So he had an F-150, and he was also paying $1,100 a month for the car. In my markup, he was paying $1,100 per month for this F-150. So I smiled. I looked at his numbers, and I said to him, first of all, why are you paying on an asset that is losing value every day?
Right. So that's it.
At the same time, you're at the 49.5% tax bracket. I said, why are you paying for an asset that's losing value every day? So what do you mean? I said, that vehicle, from the moment you drove it off the lot, it is losing value.
Mhm.
And you are paying. And I asked him, how much you owe on it right now? He says he had about 40,000 remaining. So he had $40,000 remaining on that vehicle. And if he's paying $1,100 a month, he has another 3 to 4 years of car payment. So I said, okay, I have an idea. Okay. What if I can get the government to pay off your car?
All right.
So I went to see him in February, and it was the mid-February. I said, what if I can get rid of your 4 years of car payment now, but with next month? What if I can get rid of your car payment next month and save you 4 years of car payment? What if I can let the government of Canada fund your wife's retirement saving at least $50,000 of your inside of your wife's retirement saving because she doesn't work?
Mhm.
He said, how are you gonna do all of that? I said, yes. So let me repeat. Get rid of your depreciated asset you're paying on. Let the government pay for it. Let the government fund your wife's TFSA at least $50,000 and get you out of the car payment.
All right. Talk to us.
Would that make sense?
Yes.
It says, show me the numbers. I
All
said,
right.
I'm glad you asked. I said, okay, you're at the 49th things bracket. When I look at his numbers, when I look at his tax numbers, he has RSP deduction limit, a big limit, because he's making a lot of money. So he's growing. When I look at his tax document, I saw the RSP deduction limit. And I said, okay, here's what I want to do. I need it. So if I can do all this for you, and you will not increase your monthly expense. Actually, you're going to have a less expense. He said to me, what are you up to? I said, okay, are you agreed? If I show you a plan to do all this and it doesn't cost anything, would you do it? He said, yes, certainly. I said, okay. So I said, I need $180,000. I need $180,000. $180,000. He looked at me, but he said, I will not need anything. Where will I find this from? I said, look over here. He has a house. And he had a mortgage of $400,000. And he was paying $2,000, $2,100 a month for his mortgage. So I said, okay, you're paying $2,100 a month for your mortgage, and you have a $400,000 mortgage. I want to put $180,000 in your mortgage. Yes, I want to put $180,000 in your mortgage. That brings it to $580,000. And your new payment is gonna be $3,060.
Okay.
But you told me that I'm not going to increase. I'm paying $2,100 now, and you're telling me that now my mortgage now be $3,000. That's $960 more.
So I think you're going somewhere for that end.
Yes.
All right.
So I said, I don't understand. I'm gonna now pay $3,060 a month for mortgage. And you told me that I would not increase my cash flow. I said, yes. I said, okay. So let me explain what I'm doing here. So we know that he's paying $84,000 in tax. So we take out $180,000 out of his mortgage, increase his mortgage payment by $960, On his income tax, now we have $180,000 of deduction. The first thing I did, I split it between he and his wife. So his wife gets $90,000 in a spousal, and he gets $90,000 in a personal.
Mm-hmm.
So back to the 3Ds. I'm splitting their income. With the 180.
Okay.
Now,
So just in case somebody may have missed it, remind us where that 180 is coming from.
the 180 is coming from a mortgage on the house. So I'm increasing the mortgage from 400,000 to 580.
Okay.
Right? And this 180 is now money gone in investment. It's not money gone to buy shop. I think it's money gone in investment working.
Right.
But it's split between husband and wife.
Okay.
It's split between husband and wife. Why? Because when you split the income in retirement, the tax bill goes down, right? So the $180,000, remember I promised him that I would pay off his car within a month?
Mm-hmm.
So in the first year, we're going to claim $80,000 deduction. Remember the 3Ds? We're going to claim $80,000 deduction on his income tax.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what? In April of the same year, when he gets back his tax refund, he got back $39,500 of additional tax refund.
Look at that.
And he took this $39,500 and pay off the car loan.
Right.
So there's no more car loan. So the government paid off his car loan. Doesn't stop there. Because the car loan is gone,
His money's freed up.
the $1,100 paying is gone too.
Yeah.
Right? So even though his mortgage went up by $960,
His
cash flow is $104 positive.
Yeah, okay.
So I just proved to him that I got rid of 4 years of car payment. I let the government pay for the car,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna make the government fund his wife retirement saving. So we took out, and of course he now has increased cash flow.
You're right.
Increased cash flow. So that was year one. And for the next 3 years, we're gonna claim $33,000 of the income tax. Remember, it was 180.
Right.
We use up 80, so we leave $100,000. So we're going to claim $33,000 each year for the next 3 years. And every time we claim this on his income tax, his tax refund is $16,500. $16,500. $16,500. There we have $50,000 funded by the government that goes into his wife's TFSA. So I deliver on my promises.
Yeah.
One, I get rid of the car loan, a 3-year car loan. I increase his cash flow. I get the government, I split his income, one of the D's of tax return, and I also get the government to fund his wife's pension plan.
Look at that.
And save him $140 a month.
So, I've always said it, that is not just in this country, but in any economy you're in, what separates many times the haves from the have not is information, it's knowledge, right? Because to the average person, they may not be aware of some of these tools.
Yes,
But
right.
the moment you become aware, you can completely change your situation.
Now, because we started at figure 120, we're going to go back to that. So if you make $120,000, how much tax do you pay?
28,000.
Okay, all right. $28,000. Now, if you are self-employed, so if you're salaried, in addition to pay tax, you will also pay what's called Canada Pension Plan, which is a pension that when you retire you have. With a Canada Pension Plan, both the employer and the employee contributes 5.95% up to $71,100 of income towards a pension plan. So 5 5.9% of 71,000 works out to be about $4,300.
Mhm.
You pay, so as an employee, you pay $4,300 in the pension plan. You also pay for unemployment insurance, meaning that if you're not working, you can claim insurance, which is about $1,000.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, you're gonna spend what's that? You're gonna spend roughly $33,000 deduction. $33,000 in deduction. So you end up with going on with between 70 to 72% of your income.
Okay.
Okay. So as an employee, you're going to lose around 33% of your income. Dependent, if your income goes beyond that, it goes higher. It can go high to 53%.
Mhm.
But at 120, your take home is about between 70 and 72% of your gross.
Okay.
Now, so in this instance, you were taking home about $86,000. $86,000 you're taking home. So on your 120, you are taking home $86,000. Now, if you're a contractor, meaning that the employer does not do deduction for you, you just pay your gross. Or if you are small businesses and you incorporated, again, if you do 120 income, you're gonna pay as a self-employed person or a contractor. You don't have to pay EI,
Mhm.
but for the pension plan, you have to pay both the employer and the employee, because you are the employee.
Right.
So what happens is that you have to pay both sides of the PPP. So you're talking about $8,600 additional. So from your 120 income that you make, you're gonna pay income tax of 28, plus you're gonna pay $8,600 of towards your pension.
Right.
And you'll say, well, another person say, well, can you imagine I'm gonna pay over what's that? So you're paying 28,000 up here for income tax, and then you're paying $8,600 in kind of pension plan. So you're gonna be losing like $37,000 in tax.
Mhm.
And people don't like that.
Right.
Because I mean, the problem with this is because you have to pay both sides of the Canada pension plan. Now, what some persons do, now this is salary. As the employee, you're employee. Employee. And this is you're both employee and employer. You're a contractor. And you will say, okay, you know what? I want to incorporate. I'm going to create a company and incorporate.
Mhm.
But before we get there, this CPP, Canada Pension Plan, is actually a forced saving. It's actually forcing you to save
Indeed. Yes.
indeed for a pension when you no longer work.
Right.
So it's not so much a tax. What people see is a deduction. You have to pay
It is
anyway.
a deduction. Right.
And so we come to the situation where we should add more space. I have the erase.
Mhm.
So some persons now say, okay, if you incorporate, and the question is, do I pay myself
Right.
dividend,
Dividend.
DIVIDENT, or do I pay myself salary?
Right.
Do I pay myself a dividend, or do I pay myself a salary? Now, as I said, salary is a forced savings. By paying yourself a salary, you have to pay the employer, the business pay the $4,300, and the employee pays the $4,300.
Yes.
But with this salary, you now have what's called registered RRSP contribution.
Yes.
So it's 18% of your previous year's income that you can put toward retirement. So now you have different buckets for retirement. I'm going to show different buckets. In a forced saving, the benefit of the salary also it's it's if you're going to the bank want to see a salary, not a dividend. They want to see a salary. There's also benefit of the CP, that's Canada Pension Plan survivorship benefit, meaning that if something happened to the breadwinner and passes away, the wife can get money from the government.
Right.
There's also, if there is a disability, they can benefit from disability. So the salary allows all of this, right? If you pay yourself a dividend, so remember, we said that on a 120, you're taking home $86,000 after everything. That's what you're taking home. If you are an employee, if you are a self-contractor, and you decide, okay, and you're taking home less because you're paying both the $4,300 times 2. You're paying $8,600 additional. So if you are incorporated, they say, okay, I will not pay myself a salary. I'll pay myself dividend only. Okay. Here is the thing. With the dividend, CPP is 0.
Because that's based on salary.
So on a Canada Pension Plan, so 0. On EI, it's 0.
Right.
So, but you don't earn any RSP room, so you don't have a pension. You're not saving towards a pension. You don't have any benefit for survivorship, and you don't have a disability. So now, yes, you have more money. So the person is incorporated and pay themselves dividend. Now, I must say that if you're paying yourself dividend above the 120, at the 120, the marginal rate, the tax rate is about 21% on dividend. So there is really no much difference between a self-employed. There's no real difference between an employee and a person who has his corporation from a tax point of view. There's no difference. Because here's what happened.
Interesting.
Here's what
I
happened.
always thought that
Here's
you
what happened.
be at an advantage.
Here's what happened.
Okay.
Yes, you have more cash flow because you're not paying this. You're not paying CPB. But here's what happened. If this is your corporation and you're gonna give yourself $120,000, guess what? The corporation pays, and it's a small business, pays 12.2% in tax.
Right.
Corporate tax.
Yes.
So the corporation pays 12.2% in tax. Remember the example we gave earlier? You're losing about 30 to 33% of your income as an employee.
Yeah.
The corporation pays 12.5% in corporate tax.
Yes.
When you pay yourself a dividend, at that rate, it is 21%. So we are back at the 33%. We are back at 33%. We are back at, because the corporation pays 12.2%, and it can get higher. If you pay yourself dividend above that number, it can go as high as 36%, right? But right now it's 12.5% in Ontario. Be careful, in Ontario.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pay 21% personal tax on dividend. 33%. So the real difference between the both is that you're not paying in the Canada Pension Plan.
That's it.
So the person who does that would go home with an extra, so $86,000 plus $8,600. So the person would go home with an extra $8,000 in their pocket. And that might be good.
That might be good, right? Short term.
Good, might be good. But the question is, if you don't plan for the future, what's going to happen?
You're going to face the consequences later on.
If you don't plan for the future, what's going to happen? Now, when we start working, we should start thinking about retirement. We should. Now, you want to have many different buckets in retirement. Let's look at the buckets. So, in bucket 1, so you're in retirement This is you, happy in retirement, going down to Jamaica and wherever on the sand, white sand beach. The first one you have is Canada Pension Plan. Now, if you didn't contribute a pension plan by paying yourself a salary, you won't have it.
Right.
Right? Now, the Canada Pension Plan pays your pension at 60. At age of 60, it pays. But the age at which should be taken is 65. 65. Now, the question is, if you take it at 60, you're going to lose 36% of the pension. So it's better to take it at 65. Now, if you're 65 and working, don't take it either. Let it stay. Because if you don't take it and you wait until you stop working, if you stop working 5 years longer, you're going to have... So the Canada Pension Plan right now, if you're getting the maximum at 65, is about $18,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take it at 65, and because you're working, that goes as high as $26,000 a year. So it's significant.
Yes.
So a number of persons say, well, what if I don't live? What if I don't live? I want to take it early.
You're going to miss that out.
But I'm saying you're going to give up 36% of it. And unless you're diagnosed with diabetes, yeah, right? Or you have some serious illness, why would they do that?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the first bucket, Canada Pension Plan. The next bucket is old age security pension. And this pension is a pension that you get for doing nothing, just living in Canada. When I say Canada is a great country, if you live in Canada for at least 10 years, you get this pension. It's called old age security pension. And that's about $8,000 a year. So you see quickly, if you wait until a certain time, you could over $30,000 of income. Then we have your investments,
Mm-hmm.
which is going to be RRSP,
TFSA.
and let's keep TFSA separate.
All right.
And tax-free saving account. These are registered money. The money in the TFSA, there's no tax when you take it out.
Right.
The money in the RSP is 100% taxable. So you have all these different buckets. Then you also have other investment, which is not, because there's a limit on these, how much you can put in. A non-registered investment, that's your play money. It allows you to withdraw, do everything. So you want to have, and for those who are lucky to have a company pension, not many persons have a bucket. So we have all these buckets. And of course, you could also have a life insurance as a pension. So you could have a life insurance that you're using
And benefiting from while you're alive.
and benefit while you're alive. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 buckets to pull money from. And if you're lucky enough to have rental properties, that's not a source of income. So think about the different source of income: the life insurance, the non-registered, the TFSA. Now, these in the tax-free saving account, there's no tax. There's little tax in non-registered, and in life insurance, there's very little tax. So it allows you to have money from different sources in retirement. So going back to my example earlier, if you're not doing the CPP, because you did a corporation and then you only pay a dividend, where is that money? Where is that? So that 4350 was times 2, 4250. So that's 86. That 86. So you now pay yourself dividend only. So the idea is that you want to do a combination of dividend, and that's why I did sway. You want a combination of dividend and salary, because you want to do benefit from the pension, but you also want to save on taxes.
Yes.
If you decide not to pay yourself a salary, but only dividend, be careful, because if you are not planning for that, when you're not able to work, where is the money going to come from? Where's it going to come from? So, my business clients who have this, I said to them, okay, if you're going to pay yourself dividend and not paying the Canada Pension Plan, we need to find somewhere for that $8,500, $8,600. We need to find something to do with this. because it looks nice now. We're going to spend the money,
Right.
and when that time comes, you're having problems.
Nothing to pull.
So that money that would have gone to CPP, they don't have it. So I try to get my notes back in order. So this is a 40-year-old person. He's 40-year-old gentleman. He's in good health. He's in good health. He's 40 years old, and he's paying himself dividend only. So he's not getting the CPP. He's not getting the RSP limit. He doesn't have the CPP disability benefit if something happened to him, and certainly for the survivorship benefit, the wife won't get it.
Mm-hmm.
But his goal is pay himself dividend only. I said, okay, fine. So if you're going to pay yourself dividend only, I want you to buy a life insurance. Yes, life insurance. But it's not the type of life insurance that they call term or universal life. No. I want to buy a life insurance. He's in good health, and he's going to buy $225,000 of life insurance. Life insurance. Permanent insurance. And he's going to pay $8,500 per year. Where this came from? The money that he would otherwise pay in the Canada pension plan. He's not going to pay $8,500 into an insurance. And he's going to pay it for 20 years. For 20 years and stop. So at 60, that life insurance is fully paid up. Fully paid up. Now, if he's paying $8,500 per year for 20 years, how much did he pay into the life insurance? 8,500 times 20. That's $170,000 you would pay into the life insurance.
Right.
So this insurance is a permanent insurance, and it grows in value because the insurance company pays what's called dividend into the policy. So if he decides to retire at 65, like most people, if he retire at 65. So remember, he contributed $8,500 per year for 20 years. At 60, he stops paying. He decided, okay, I'm now 65, I want a pension. He's now able, so this life insurance now would have grown, plus the death benefit of $225, over $440,000 of cash.
Look at that.
$440,000 of cash. So he's able to take a pension every year of $22,000 times 20 years. So if he's take a pension from age 65 to age 85, 20 years, he's able to take $22,000 from the insurance, and that's approximately what? $22,000 for 20 years. How much is that?
You're looking at
I don't have my notes with me. $22,000 to do the math. $22,000 for 20 years. It's about 400 and what?
So 22,000 for 20 years.
20 years.
Times
400.
So you're looking at 440.
Okay, good. So he would have taken out a pension of $440,000 of cash. Now, some of that is taxable, right? And when he's taking all that, he still have a life insurance of $225, the death benefit. So upon his passing, this $225 is paid to his spouse or to his estate. So when we added $225, so he'd have benefited over $675,000 from the life insurance,
Right.
of which he paid $170,000, almost 4 times. more than what he put in.
Mhm.
So he put in and then he takes out the income in retirement. And this can be done individual too. Not, it can be done in the business, but it can also be done individually.
Okay, because that was going to be my next
It
question.
can be done individually too.
Okay.
Right? So I have persons who don't want to pay themselves a salary, they're paying dividend. But they are losing out on the pension plan.
Yes.
I do this for them. But also, you can also do this without doing this. Because the insurance can be used also for estate planning. So by doing this, this is how the life insurance, you can benefit from it without dying.
Mm-hmm.
Or in other words, making the life insurance be a pension plan.
Right. So this fulfills one of those buckets.
Yes.
Okay. So you're saying an individual can maneuver and use this strategy as well. But you're saying it's not the insurance product they're buying is not a UL,
not a like term life, or no, it's
okay.
a type of whole life.
Type of whole life.
A type of whole life policy. So you can do this individual. You don't have to be a company.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not paying yourself salary, you pay dividend, you want to do that. So at least the CPP right now paying $18,000. The insurance pay you $22,000. Yes. So you're not at a loss. You're able to do that. All right. So now I'm going to jump to for a younger person. We have always been told that debt can be bad, or is bad. You should not have any debt. But what if I tell you, if you're in your 20s, how much is $10? Can you find $10 a day?
I'm sure.
I mean, you go to a coffee shop and where you spend $10.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
If you're in your 20s and you can find $10 a day, I can make you a millionaire by the time you retire. I'm glad you asked. How are you going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, when somebody start working, when a young man start working, the first thing that they want to buy is what?
The car.
A car. And if you have a car payment, a typical car payment is like how much?
Roughly 500. It's even more now. But say 500.
Oh, well, let's say 350 at least. At least 350. Now, if you can find $10 a day, and so let's do the math. I'll make you a millionaire. And you don't have to wait. This is not on top of what you're doing. This just use that $10. So let's do the math. And this is about planning. Now, let's draw my graph again. I'm going to draw my graph. So you just finished. You're 22 years old. Just finished nursing, whatever. You do salary. Can you find $10? Let me ask again. $10 a day.
That's not too bad. I'm sure it's possible.
So, what I said to you, okay, how about you go and borrow $20,000? Not a lot. $20,000. Go borrow $20,000. I'm going to show you an institution that you like. When you borrow that money, at a 6%, you're going to pay $284 a month, which is less than the car payment.
Yes.
You're going to pay, for 7 years, you're going to pay $284 a month. Now, the assumption I'm using that the rate of return on this investment is 9%.
Okay.
Now, that's very reasonable.
It is.
Because my investment make 14, 15, and 16.
Yes, so that's very conservative.
At 9%. Okay? So at 22, so let's look at age. So I'm going to do every 8 years. So when he's at 30, at age 30, at age 38, at age 46, at age 54, yeah. At age 54, at age 62. Those are the ages. So he borrows $20,000 from the bank. He's paying $284 per month back to the bank to pay off the loan.
Yes.
Now the amount that he pay on the loan is a tax deduction. Going back to the 3Ds, the amount he pay on the loan is a tax deduction. And what the investor charge him for the management is also a deduction. Two deduction, two hits. Now, at 9%, by the time he's 30, that figure of double. Now he now has $40,000. He's paid it off. Guess what he does? He goes back to the bank and borrow $20,000 again. $20,000. So now, how much does he have to invest? He has 60. 60. When he's 38, how much is this? He now has 60. When he's 38, he now has $120,000 in his investment.
Okay.
Same thing again.
Yeah.
He go borrow $20,000 again. He borrowed $20,000 again. Still paying that. Assuming it doesn't change. He now has 140 of investment. He doesn't touch it. He then, when he's 46, that 140 is now $280,000. So he's doing everything. He's buying his car. He's saving otherwise. He's going on vacation. He's doing everything. But he just put away that 284. He goes again and borrow that 20,000 again. So now he has what? $300,000. Just pay the 284 per month. So now, when he's 54, he now have $600,000 of investment outside of his regular savings. This is his play money, $600,000. And then, the last time now, he borrowed $20,000 on top of that. So he now has $620,000. By the time he's 62, remember he's retired at 65?
Yes.
By the time he's 62, that will be $1,250,000. And this addition to his house, in addition to his TFSA saving, this is not all that. And the money that he paid for the investment, a deduction, and the investor charge him a deduction. So think about it. Just putting away, actually it's $9. If you divide 284 by 30 days in a month, 30 days in a month, that's like $9.40. If you put away $9.40 every day, he'll be a millionaire, a multi-millionaire by the time he retires.
So just to break this down even more, so when he goes and borrows his money, he's giving it to a wealth manager.
Wealth manager like myself.
Like yourself, to invest.
Who can charge him for it? To go and charge him a fee, which is a deduction too.
So I have a very interesting question, because we're living now in an age investment age, where you're being encouraged to self-direct. Yeah. Is this possible with self-directing?
It's not good. You want to separate emotion, because the market will go fluctuate.
Yes.
And when you see 120 go to 110, you go cash out. And worst thing ever, you should be buying more. So you want to have the professional do their job. Now, that said, where we live now, a certain professional like me, you have to have certain level of asset for them to take you on, because their time is their money, right?
That's right.
Right. But the idea is, even if you use a line of credit, because you just use a line of credit and keep it separate from everything else. So if CRE audit you can show it and do this. Spending $9.40 a day will make you a multi-millionaire.
Yeah.
So we're using debt. Using somebody's money to create my wealth, and what it costs me, the government pays for it.
Yeah.
Canada is great. Yeah. So that's another example of how to use debt to create wealth and the taxes. Now, another that I want to look at is and I think it's the last example. I could be short on time. The biggest debt that most people have is their home.
Yes.
And this is another example I'm going to show you. the person buys a home and get a mortgage for $500,000 at 4%. This young man is 30 years old and he wants to be debt-free by 45. He's in a rush to pay off his mortgage. He's in a rush to pay off those people. I'm going to kill the mortgage. He wants to pay off the mortgage by 45. So 15 years at a $500,000 mortgage, he's going to pay $3,700 a month. He has a cash flow, he can do that. So he wants to pay off the mortgage by, when it's 45, paying the $3,700 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. So I said to him, okay, so at 45, the bank had given you 25 years. Now you can get up to 30 years, 25 years. But you want to pay the 15 years. So he had an option where he had the $500,000, same 4% for 25 years. The payment will be $2,640. But he wants to pay it off quicker. I want to have my mortgage, I want mortgage free. Okay, all right. So I said, okay, assume you pay off the mortgage at 45 and you had a 10-year more, it should have been 25 years. Will you save all that money? He said, yes. Okay, good, okay. So now the mortgage is paid off, the house is free and clear, and he's smiling at my title, no debt. So assuming that he saved that $3,700 for the next 10 years at a 7% rate of growth. So $3,700 a month, that's $44,000 a year. So you can't save all of that TFSA, you have to save it. So you, in 10 years' time, what we have, $3,700 a month. For 10 years, he would have $640,000. Is he doing good?
Yep.
He's doing great.
You're doing great.
He's doing great. He paid off his mortgage in 15 years, and he saved all his discipline. He saved all the money after, invest all the money at a 7%. He made $640. So now
That's a nice number.
it's a nice number. He paid off his house in 15 years and that's a nice. I can't fault him for that.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course, because it's so much money he's saving, he's going to pay tax on that. So he's going to lose about 25, at least 25% in tax. So he left it about 480.
Okay, here comes Siri.
He's doing well. And I said, okay, that is well, but how about doing greater?
Right.
How about doing greater? So I said, okay.
How could he have done better?
Yeah, well, okay. So here's the idea. I'm going to draw another graph. Hope I can hold it. So, person A mentored me and said, don't do that. You can do better than that. Do better than this? Yes, you can. How about paying that mortgage over 25 years?
So he's not getting rid of it now.
No, pay it over
Stretching it
25
out.
years. And you're going to be paying $2,640. Yeah, but I'm going to pay more in interest. Okay, all right, fine. In 25 years, the mortgage is paid off. Okay. But instead of the difference between $3,700 for 15 years and $2,640 is $1,060.
Yeah.
You take the 1060, and if he's married, he can split it in his TFSA, and he invests it from day one. He invests that 1060 at the same 7% at 25 years.
What's the number?
He will have $831,000.
And what Siri is cut?
And because he's saving his TFSA, there is no tax.
No tax.
There's no tax. So think about it. By doing it this way, he has almost 400. Yes, he's paid off his house later,
Mm-hmm.
but he has $400,000 more, almost $400,000 more in his pocket. using the same cash flow. So these are some of the examples.
Yeah.
How we stop here because of our time. That we can use debt to create wealth. We can use a mortgage to create wealth. We can use a mortgage to save on tax. Each person is different, and when you go to a professional, he looks at the overall picture, what your goals are, and he's able to develop a plan that allows you to do all of this legally. So in this case, this person is so much better off. He's almost $400,000 more, and he didn't have to pay $1 bit different.
And just so you know, it's clear to people what's really at work here is time in the market,
Right.
and the compound interest factor.
Right.
Because he started earlier,
Right.
and he had time over time that always works out to be a better number.
Yes. And this idea of paying off your mortgage, if you do, you want to make sure you have a debt on your home. Never pay off a mortgage. And if you pay off a mortgage, make sure you have a line of credit attached to the home. Because if you don't, person can take your house from under you.
Yes, I remember you mentioning that.
I just saw a video recently, and they target person who go away for a long period on vacation and snowbird.
Yes.
That the house has no debt. Person went on vacation. When they came back, they were like 3 months away. When they came back and tried to open the door, the key couldn't go in. Then the person opened the door and said, "What? Why? This is my house." He said, "Well, this is my house." The person said, "I bought this house 3 months ago. It was sold under them." And to get that house, they're going to fight the tooth and nail. Another example I saw recently was in Scarborough. In Scarborough, that the person went away to China on a 3-month vacation, and the lawyer who did paperwork realized something was missing, and he went to see the house. The lawyer in Scarborough went to see the house, went to the neighbor, and the neighbor told the lawyer that the owners are in China. So the lawyer realized that's a fraud. So he processed everything as usual. He informed the police. He processed everything. And when the fraudster came to collect check at the bank, the police was waiting for them.
To get it right.
Happened here in Scarborough.
So you're saying it's important to always have a debt on the house?
Yes.
Because it's hard for fraudsters to come in.
No, we can't.
Why? It's
because
you can't claim.
The charge there's a charge against the property.
Right.
And they will have to go into the bank to prove that they are the person.
So that is why.
So the other way is to buy mortgage title fraud insurance, buy insurance that can pay your money in the case of that family.
Yes.
But the easiest way is to have a debt on the property. If the mortgage is paid off, make sure before you retire you have a line of credit attached. All right.
That's a very important fact there. Very important advice, I think. Very timely advice.
And my time is done.
And time is done. But I certainly learned a few things today, Brother Romance. And I'm sure you have as well. And as I said, because of the constraints of time, we weren't able to get into every single scenario. But I've even heard of other scenarios. You've walked us through other scenarios, such as in the case of when two persons, older persons died within the same year, and that all that debt rolled over to the kids.
Right.
And what was owed to CRA was just about
that
the
video.
RSP.
That video I wanted to play, but I didn't have the time.
Yeah.
So pretty much estate planning, and you know what time I have left. So you have 2 kids, and you leave a house to the daughter, and the house is $1 million, and you leave your investment to your son of $1 million. In your will, you say you bequeath your home to your daughter because you have children. Son, they get the money, and you think you did a good job.
Yes.
Right? Do you think you did a good job? Well, I may tell you the job you did a bad job, because this home is called a principal residence. There's no tax on it.
Right.
So the daughter get that $1 million. On this investment, $553,000 go to CRA. Your son will left with 440, what's that? 47. So you just created an inequality in the estate because the daughter has $1 million looking at and the son has $400,000. So the planet involved, and that's why life insurance comes in again to equalize estate because in your grave, you're going to turn in your grave because your children will be fighting each other. How can you have more than twice that I have? And because the tax man took that bite. So estate planning is also very serious.
Yes.
And that's where that's why I shine in estate planning.
And
Right.
yeah, and this is why we say, listen, if something has been said in either one of these two presentations that applies to your family, we do advise you to seek out the professionals.
Yep.
They know the system, they know of tools that can be used to help to remedy your situation and to cause there to be a more positive outlook within your financial situation.
Be sure to tell a friend, and we're here to learn and to grow and to just help you guys here at the Borough Podcast.
One more thing, Brother Ians. How can somebody reach you if, having watched this, they're moved to get on top of their financial planning?
Okay, so I gave my card, my office number, and my email contact.
We're gonna have it on the screen.
Yes.
Yes. So once again, he's from IG Wealth Management, and we have his number. We have his details here. You're going to be seeing it on the screen. I think right now you should be seeing it. Please make a note, and if you do have a question or you want to have Mr. Ian Romans be your financial advisor and wealth manager, give him a call, and I'm sure he'll be able to entertain the questions you may have. All right. Once again, this was the Borough Podcast, and we will see you soon at the next episode. Bye-bye.